in New York.
Hello guys in Korea. The night is getting deeper in New York, but as you can see, this city just never sleeps. Today is a very special day for Arirang TV as it has launched its digital TV on channel 48-3 in the Big Apple. And to find more about how Arirang's digital broadcasting service will impact the relationship between the United States and Korea, I met up with the Korea Society Organization's President Evans Revere, who was also a Deputy Chief of Mission at the U.S. Embassy in Seoul back in 2000 to 2003. So let's take a look. But nice to meet you, to see you in Manhattan.
Thank you very much. Welcome to New York. It's a delight to have you here. You've come a long way.
I know, thank you. Can you explain to us about what the Korea Society Organization do and what's their roles in New York?
Our role fundamentally is to introduce Korea to Americans who may not know very much or anything about Korea. Beyond that, we reach out to Americans who know something about Korea and provide them more information about Korea, whether it's history, whether it's culture, whether it's language, whether it's topical issues. We do everything from nuclear weapons to modern art and everything in between in terms of Korea-related issues.
You explained about the bilateral ties between the U.S. and ROK, but can you explain to us more in detail what's the relations between the United States and Korea?
I think the relationship, and I'm someone who's a former U.S. diplomat and an American government official who worked on the relationship for many years, and so I've been a long-time observer of the relationship. And I think it would be fair to say that the relationship between the U.S. and the Republic of Korea today is probably at its strongest point in many years. And in my memory, quite frankly, it's stronger than ever. And I think it has a lot to do with the challenges that we're facing together, the challenges from North Korea, obviously, the challenges of new economic difficulties that we're both facing, and the fact that the United States and the ROK have pulled together as never before to meet with these challenges. We're partners, obviously, in the G20 process. We're partners in dealing with North Korea in the six-party talks. We're alliance partners, of course, dealing with the threat coming from the north. And it's been a real delight for me to see how a new American president, President Obama, and a relatively new Korean president, President Lee, who's a good friend and a good supporter of the Korea Society, have been able to form the sort of relationship that they've formed, a very strong and cooperative relationship. And I think the relationship between the two countries is stronger and more cooperative than I've seen it in many years. So I think I would give both presidents and both countries an A for the as a grade for the relationship that they've been able to put together.
Evans Revere was excited to hear about Arirang's digital broadcast service being launched in New York.
And we had Henry Kissinger. Absolutely delighted at the news. I've actually been on Arirang before in Seoul when I was stationed in Korea. I had at least a couple of opportunities to appear on some of your programming. I'm a big fan of Arirang TV. Arirang has really played a very special role introducing important aspects of Korean history and culture and contemporary issues to worldwide audiences, to American audiences and non-Korean audiences inside Korea, but also more broadly, audiences around the world. And I think it's an important thing that Arirang is coming to New York in this fashion and will be accessible to more and more Americans. It's going to make my job a lot easier.
What would be the Arirang TV's role in terms of strengthening bilateral ties between the United States and Korea?
What Arirang is doing is laying the groundwork for a strengthening of understanding between the United States and Korea. And you know better than I that the importance of media in reaching across cultural and linguistic and other barriers. You can never do enough in terms of outreach. And I think what Arirang is doing is taking the level of communication between the United States and Korea up to a new and an even better level. And that's a fine contribution.
What is your expectation for Arirang TV?
When I first came to Korea, 1969, 40 years ago, I knew virtually nothing about Korea. And there was this strange and wonderful new land and new language and culture and new sights and sounds and smells, and I just became fascinated with it. And I think if you can give people a taste of what Korea is all about, you will have made a major contribution to the strengthening of ties between our two countries and our two peoples. Right? Heading back. Looking forward to it.
That's it from me from Times Square. I'll be back again with more news on what arirang DTV means to New Yorkers here.
Right, and that was our Kim Nari reporting from Times Square in New York on arirang TV's digital broadcast launch.